Hello and welcome back to the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2023. We have already seen two absolutely amazing races to start off this season, and there is no sign whatsoever that today is going to be any different. My name is Robin Ciuman, and unfortunately our main commentator Ash Baker couldn't make it today, but I got support in the man of Aleksandar Knezevic, who will join me for round 3 here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Aleksandar, how are you today?
Hello to you. Thanks for having me. I'm very well. I'm looking forward to this race, and I think we will have a lot of fun commentating this race.
Yeah, thank you. I'm already looking very much forward to this one here. And before we get into anything, let's look at a short hot lap of the circuit that we will be racing on today.
Hello guys and welcome back to WMSC. My name's Ash, and for round 3 of the highest IBOS series, we're stopping at the famous Bahrain International Circuit. This racetrack, located in Sakhir, Bahrain, is a 5.4km or 3.3 mile track that features 15 turns. The circuit was designed by Herman Tilke and opened in 2004, making it one of the newer tracks on the Formula 1 calendar. The circuit features a mix of high-speed straights and tight corners that require precision and skill to navigate. But the best part is, this race will take place at night. A much different feeling for the paddock overall, but as unusual as it might still be for sim racing, we are all still very excited to watch the whole show take place. None other than Kyalami winner Max Riedmuller will present the track for us with his team Maniti Racing. The lap starts with a long straight where the usage of DRS is enabled, although this track has some more long straights ahead. At the end of this straight, we reach the first tight hairpin turn, which can be difficult to get right without losing too much speed and avoiding the high curbs. That feeds us immediately into turns 2 and 3, mid to high speed corners, which will lead us into the next DRS zone, all the way up to turn 4. This right-hander could be difficult to handle, as you should take as much as possible from the track on the exit, but avoiding the gravel on the left-hand side. We speed up into sector 2 by smoothly taking turns 5, 6 and 7, which leads us to the second hairpin. Downhill on entry, uphill on exit. Get that car rotated and throttled down as soon as you can, avoiding any off tracks on the left. 9 is still a very high speed, it leads straight into 10, the third hairpin. You desperately need the perfect braking point, otherwise you can just coast off track or into the walls on the right. Speeding up as early as you can, we reach another DRS zone. This straight is still pretty long, gives plenty of opportunities to overtake or dive bomb into turn 11, which isn't always advised. The next corner is a fast long right-hander which is loved by drivers, not so much by the tyres though. After turn 13 we reach the second last straight of this pretty fast track, which leads us to the final corner. We try to go through with as much grip as we can, exiting far on the left and pushing for the start-finish line. That's a wrap, thanks for watching and see you in Bahrain.
So, and before we head into qualifying, let's have a quick look at the weather situation today as well. Seeing as we race in the desert, there is no rain to expect today. And another first in the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship is that today is going to be a night race. Temperatures are still pretty high in the desert of Bahrain, 27 degrees Celsius for qualifying and 25 for the race. Well, and let's look at the current driver standings as well. Philip Puschke, our race winner from Melbourne, is still leading the championship with 13 points. Behind him we have Volbon, Weller, Riedmuller, Hess, Polens, Turi, Fournier, Benton Reeder and Roy Seifert. And let's look at the team standings as well. Holland Racing Team is leading with 19 points over Epic Basilia, Beta Giulia, Maniti, Scuderia CM Motorsports, or SCMM as we will refer to them, and Scuderia Cesario, the final team that has already scored points. Well, and qualifying should very well be underway, or in a couple of minutes at least. So let's head to the track and see when the first cars will come out of the pit lane. Here we are once again. Sun is setting over the desert, but the session doesn't appear to have started. Oh yes, it has. There are the first cars coming out of the pit lane. So we are
Who would
underway.
be your favorite, Robin, for the position?
For pole position, I think we have of the Team Holland guys always favorites for the pole position. We've seen how quick they are, especially over one lap. Tire degradation has been a bit of a struggle for them in the last races, but that shouldn't be too bad in qualifying. Who would you see on pole position?
Yeah, I think pretty much the same. I think that the guys from Holland Racing Team, they are very, very fast, but they may struggle in the race. We saw one more stop from them in the last races, so let's see if they can manage it better here in Bahrain.
And what is already very interesting, seeing as we are speaking about the Team Holland boys, they have gone for the softer tire set. Now, ahead of the race, every team has to settle for a set of tires that is either super soft and medium, or the soft and the hard tire. And despite their struggles with tire degradation, they have gone for the softer sets today. So it will be very interesting to see how they do with these sets of tires.
Maybe they plan to do more stops right away.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the case. So that they have just settled with that situation, say, okay, if we're gonna stop more than the others anyway, let's at least take the faster tires.
With that, they should also have advantage in qualifying.
Yeah, we can already see Yannis Volbon, he's on the super soft tires already, and he will be the first one to set his flying lap, I think. So
what must be said is that the drivers need to race fuel with them, so they burn it off over the course of the session.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you for pointing that out. So that has also the advantage for us as spectators that we will see a lot of running on track as they try to burn down as much fuel as they can towards the end of the session to set a quick lap time then. So, Aleksandar, you have been speculating about the time that pole position will be. Do you want to share with our spectators?
Yeah, I think it will be 29, but we saw faster lap times in practice, but I think that were glory runs. I don't really expect them to happen here because most of the guys won't manage, to get the fuel that low.
Let's see, this is the first lap time.
Yeah, 2 seconds off, so I think they need to run a lot of laps and maybe we get under the 30-minute mark.
We've only talked about Team Holland so far. Maybe others watch out for Lorenzo Turi, of course. He has started on pole position for the race in Australia. So and there he is, purple middle sector, enters in second already.
I tried to get some slipstream. I hope that it didn't end in tears. There are a lot of guys that are in the hunt for the pole and for the win especially. I think that nobody expected Max Riedmüller to win in those conditions in Kyalami.
Yeah, and we are yet to kind of sort out a pecking order because the first 2 races weren't really good to really point out a pecking order to see, especially with these tricky conditions we've seen in Kyalami, which is a high downforce, very technical track in the first place, and then with the rain as well. I think Meniti absolutely maxed out the results that was possible for them there. I don't expect them to be too fast here in Bahrain, but we'll see. Bahrain
is obviously a better track, to see a more, representative pecking order. I think, Melbourne, I think the people were still finding their way. Kyalami with the rain is always chaos, so I think here we can see, who is where.
Yeah, there's Max Riedmüller kind of proving me wrong by.
Yeah, but still half a second off.
Yeah,
It must not mean anything. Cativo, his teammate, is seconds off, so let's see where he ends up.
Yeah, sure. And there goes already Turi beating Riedmüller by 4/10.
Maybe we can talk about the subs for this race. Luke Mitchell is jumping in.
Yeah, it's exactly. Luke Mitchell will be driving for Optiminal Esports, so this should be very interesting. We haven't seen too much of Optiminal. They didn't even have a car competing at Kyalami.
I'm not sure if he's known from other leagues. The name doesn't ring any bells, at least for me. But I think that the guys, put him in the car because he can drive it properly, I hope.
Yes, so I received the information ahead of this race that he is currently the leader of the, and this is a tricky name, GPVWC Formula Sprint 2 season. He's currently leading this, so we expect him to be a solid driver. Maybe he can even compete for points, but we'll need to see how he does here in the WMSC.
He should. I think that Roy Seifert is also racing there, so it's representative, as I would say. But obviously, I think he needs a little bit of time, to get comfortable with these cars.
Philip Pushka, championship leader, entering in 6th here. Oh, there's lots of traffic into turn 1.
Yeah. I hope that the guys sort it out. I mean, it's obviously not for pole at the moment, but still everybody wants to drive in free air.
Yeah.
The only one that hasn't set a time yet is Murno, even though Velar is also a lot of the pace, but that was not a representative time, I think.
Yeah. So once again, we have 2 Wellers in the field. Danny Weller and René Weller. So Danny driving for Beta Julia and René driving for Kostek. Danny Weller also someone to watch out for. He has been leading large parts of the race in Australia and at Kyalami. Kind of lost the race win there, or the ability to fight for the race win there by... maybe let's just look at that lap from Riedmüller. Very good middle sector. Let's see what he can do in the final sector.
Looked good.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, a little bit off.
Yeah, only 3rd still.
And who is missing? We're only 17, but we should be 20, I think.
Yeah, so we have only one Optiminal Esports car, so Davide Zanini unfortunately had to cancel for today as well. Then we have one of the Infernal Void cars missing, so the teammate of Lucas Murno. Oof.
I don't think that did any good to the tires.
No.
Oh, he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah. Lucas Murno, he has kind of positively surprised us in the last races. He was like driving solidly in the midfield in the Infernal Void. For the Infernal Void team, we didn't expect them to have a very strong car. What is he doing now? Okay.
He's just letting everybody pass.
Yannis Wolborn, 1/10 in the first sector already. See how the middle sector will be. We will see the time when he comes up to the next right-hander. And he continues.
It's also interesting to see, the team dynamic in the Holland team, between Polands and Wolborn. Obviously, both very quick drivers. They didn't come to blows yet, but I could imagine, if they both fight for the championship, that it will get heated. Second sector wasn't good, but the third one was good. Turi sliding a little bit out of the first corner.
Both Cesare pass pretty competitive right now. Sitting in second and third. That might have been a little bit too wide. Going through turn 3 there.
Yeah, I think that Turi isn't as happy as he would like to be with the car, at least at this moment.
Yeah,
Sadly, we didn't get any sector time, maybe because of track limits, I'm not sure.
yeah, I think that was what happened in turn 4 it was.
Yeah.
I think he ran just a little bit wide.
Poland's is faster even now. It seems though that Poland's is running a different strategy compared to Wellborn.
Yeah. I think one of the main differences is... Oh. That was a very slow middle sector.
Yeah, probably a mistake somewhere that we didn't see.
Yeah. But this is also the sector where we expect the Holland Racing team to struggle a little bit. They have a car with very, very low downforce. So they full-on went for straight line speed. For race 3, they now brought overall updates as well. So maybe they try to tackle that a little bit.
Yeah, if they set up the car properly in the first and third sectors, they are obviously in the advantage, and you know the second sector is maybe a struggle, but I'm confident that they can manage that. And here we got the leader, the championship leader at the moment.
Philip Puschke, he had a very eventless race at Kyalami. So he wasn't competing at the top, unlike in Melbourne.
Yeah, but as it slows at the top, you know, you don't need to win every race to be at the front, you know. Just get some solid points and you're up there.
Yeah, sure. Consistency is key. That goes for the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship as well. Yellow in Sector 1. Don't know what happened there. Oh.
With Kativo?
Yeah, I think that was even his teammate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was his teamate. Okay.
Still purple middle sector?
Yeah.
But I think
Kativo seems to be struggling a little bit with the car. He's about second off Riedmüller.
Yeah.
Second place. Not a bad lap.
Yeah, especially considering that he had just a little bit of a struggle there with his teammate. Don't know if this really cost him time, but it certainly didn't help.
So now we're coming to the sharp end, slowly.
Yeah, 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes only to go.
Puschke in third, he improved by a considerable margin, I think. He was down in 9th, I think, before.
Yeah, and it all comes down to these last sector now. That might be, yes, it is an improvement.
Very good lap.
Provisional pole.
Surprising that Ben Reader is well faster than Weller. It was more or less the other way around in the last races.
Yeah, it really is. So Weller must be struggling.
Or different strategy, we don't know. Maybe 2-stop to a 3-stop.
Yeah, that might be. But, oh, now Aleksandar has purple first sector. Bit slow in the middle sector. See what he can do. Fourth.
Good.
Other times.
And Riedmüller goes fastest.
Oh wow!
And by 4/10, so it was a really good lap.
Yeah.
So what most of the guys will now, they will pit for fresh tires and then go pole hunting.
Yep. Now, interestingly, Philip Puschke has set his time according to the live timing on mediums.
Hmm.
So that's also very interesting.
Maybe he just wanted to have like stable tires for the burn-off phase, and then he will change to the softer ones. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we should see that in a minute, because by now everyone should start to get on the tire that they want to set their most competitive lap time. Time is starting to run out now. Yannis Wolborn only in 7th for now, but now with a purple first sector.
By a good margin, 4/10.
Yeah.
Cypher put it in second.
5,000ths of a second off only against Reed Miller. But
They are struggling in the second sector. That's really obvious here.
Yeah, he lost what he made up in the first sector. Oh, lost everything in the middle sector. Now the last one should work for them.
Yeah, I would so.
So it might still be good enough for first. Yes, it is.
Yeah, but
it's
only by a
very
few
close.
thousands.
Wow. And there goes Poland's.
Yeah, and Cruz even on his teammates' time. Now it will get busy.
Yeah,
I just
multiple
hope
cars.
that nobody like stands in the way of somebody else.
Yeah.
But you know, if they get pole position, the Holland cars, they have a very good, you know, starting position for the race, because they will be hard to overtake, at least on track.
Know that. He's a bit off.
Yeah, not the best lap so far. Yeah, but purple now. You just see where the car has its strengths. The only driver that I'm more or less really disappointed in is Aaron Smith. I mean, he's slowest of all, 3 seconds off. I know that they have struggling with their car, but you know, he as a driver is more competitive usually.
Yeah, we've seen this in the first 2 races as well, and I mean, he had such a great start into 2023. He won both races at the Macau Super Prix. He won the season opener of the AMC, so...
Yeah. He has proven himself over more than a year now in our organization, and yeah, I'm just surprised that he's struggling here so much.
Lucas Murno once again running in the top 10. Now we might already come to the final runs.
Yeah,
Danny Weller.
one or two laps maybe at most.
And this will be Danny Weller's final lap when he comes across the line. His final chance to improve now. He won't improve this time around. Only
He's
sitting
even slower than his brother right now.
Yeah. So, they'll be starting alongside each other. This will be very interesting to see how they behave into turn 1. Duel between siblings.
Usually Danny is upset than René.
He's been at the sharp end of the grid at every round so far. Now let's see what Lorenzo Turi can do. 5th.
Stays 5th, yeah. The top 5 are pretty close, and there is then a gap to 6th.
Now Reed Miller, this might be a strong time. Yes,
Yeah.
It is provisional pole.
But not by much. I think it can be beaten.
Yeah, where is Poland's right now? Just behind. There's both Team Holland cars coming around the final corner behind Geoffrey Fournier.
Yeah, the French driver puts it in the middle of the pack.
Now, and splits the two Weller brothers together with Mitchell. Philip Puschke, strong lap.
Ben's all on the last corner. A little slide.
Let's see, should still be an improvement. No, it's not. Still 7th.
7th place. That is a disappointing. Weller in 8th. I'm not sure
But
which
that
one.
is René Weller.
René? Okay.
Yeah.
That's surprising. Is anybody from the top 5 still on a fast lap?
I don't know. I think maybe the Team Holland guys
Yeah,
might
Jan
have
is,
been.
Jan is
they
very
are.
fast in the first sector again. But that's compared to Riedmüller, who is fast in the second sector.
Yeah, and it was by considerable margin, so it will be hard to make that up in the first and third
He's
sectors.
got a car in front. I hope that won't impede him. Oh!
Oh!
Yeah. It should be okay, I think.
I was moving
Yeah,
out of the way aggressively.
It's okay.
Maybe
He's
not.
1/10 up at the moment.
Yeah.
Good. It should be pole, I think.
Well enough.
Ben's reader on pole right now.
Where did he come from? Oh, and he's beaten by 13 thousandths of a second. Poland wasn't able to improve. He's still 4th. Wow, I think that might be it, but take a bow, Daniel Bentonreader. Where did that come from?
Yeah, especially when you see how much his teammate is struggling, Danny Weller.
Yeah, absolutely impressive.
But once again, congratulations to Jannis. He's a proven qualifier, I know from experience.
And look at the gap between the top 3. Here are the full results of qualifying. Jannis Fulbon takes pole position in the closing stages. Daniel Bentonreader starts alongside him in the front row. Then we have Max Riedmüller, also only 33 thousandths of a second off. Then Pascal Polens, Roy Seifert, Aleksandar has Lorenzo Turi, Philip Puschke, René Weller, very impressive qualifying for the Kostek driver in 9th, Jack Reeve 10th. So good qualifying finally for a streamline driver. Lucas Murno 11th. Then we have Aaron Smith. He also managed to improve. Then we have Geoffrey Fournier, Luke Mitchell, Danny Weller. Another thing. There must be some sort of issue there. I don't know. What does the live timing say? Okay. I don't know what happened there. We will sort that out for the race. Yeah, Gonzalez Cativo then 16th and Philip Fekela in 17th. So that has been qualifying. Now there will be a short break before the race starts, and we'll see you then. So a short break right now. See you soon. So welcome back. We are just about to start the formation lap for round 3 here at the Bahrain International Circuit. News after qualifying where that René Weller has received a 3-place grid drop because he was impeding Philip Puschke with an unsafe rejoin in qualifying. So unfortunately he will start 3 laps further down.
And Philip Fekela broke the Park Ferme rules intentionally. It was discussed with the race control, so he changed compounds for the race, but as he was last, he won't get any real penalty for that.
So both Kosteks hit with a penalty, or well, kind of a penalty for Fekela. This is the starting grid once again. Woolborn ahead of Bentonreader, Riedmüller, Polens, Seifert, and Hess. Then we have Turi, Puschke, Jack Reeve alongside Lucas Murno in row 5. Very impressive qualifying by the Streamline team, so there a change of setup did help. René Weller then down in 12th, Geoffrey Fournier 13th, Danny Weller 14th, disappointing qualifying for him, Luke Mitchell 15th. Gonzalez Cativo 16th, then Philip Fekela from 17th and last.
We got only 3 cars running the harder compound tires, so that will be interesting to see if they maybe can do stop less than the others.
This is how they will be going into this race with compound-wise. Now take this with a pinch of salt, because we have experienced already that this might not be up to date, but it should be within the first laps of the race.
And they don't need to use both compounds, so everybody can run, for example, the medium one the whole race.
Yeah, so that's also noteworthy.
Let's see how dirty the dirty side is, if there is any disadvantage at the start.
Yeah, that will be also very interesting to see. Philip Fekela now coming up to his 17th and last grid spot. Now we are waiting the lights. 3, 4, 5 red lights are on. And it's lights out. And away we are for the Bahrain race at Bahrain.
Good start from Poland.
Yeah, impressive start by Poland.
Contact between the Cesarios.
Yeah. Poland's moved up into third.
Oh, crash.
That is Lorenzo Turi, and he collects René Weller. Fekela as well.
I think he's out.
Yeah.
Must be a safety car. I think he's on the racing line.
Yeah, and both Kosteks were involved in that situation as well. But we need to see that in a replay later on. Lots of stuff going on there.
And perfect start for the Holland cars. They are 1-2.
Yeah, so they made it past Riedmüller as well. Still only yellow in Sector 1.
That surprises me. I think that Turi wasn't smart. You know, he turned onto the racetrack, so yeah, it was inevitable that he will crash out.
So when we have the first, now we have the slow zone activated. This is kind of
there was contact. There was contact between, I think, Murnau and Smith.
Yeah, they were side by side when the slow zone activated, so they now have to all push the pit limiter and go at that speed. So the gaps are frozen, or should frozen, but that will be very interesting to see what happened there, because Smith and Murnau were side by side when the call from action came that they have to activate the pit limiter now.
I think it was already like this. I mean, the position should be correct.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Yeah. So I think this is the moment where...
Yeah.
Oh.
It's Murnau's fault, if anything, you know.
Yeah, why is he pulling alongside?
Maybe some issue with the communications, I'm not sure. But what I saw is that the two Holland cars have a big gap behind.
Yeah, it really is.
It's almost half the straight already.
And if I'm not mistaken... Oh yeah, I'm very much mistaken. Well, Benton Reader had like...
And a good start for the Streamline cars on the soft tires.
Yeah,
soft tires, better said.
That really paid off for them.
And now with the slow phase, you know, they can you know, save a little bit of the tire life and maybe go longer. Let's see.
Yeah. So. Okay, now this is the replay of the start. Let's see what happened to Lorenzo Turi. Reader already dropping down there.
Yeah, he had a bad start, yeah.
And then... Oh!
Yeah. Clipped the car, yeah.
Now what is your verdict on that?
It's a racing incident in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens at the race start.
It was at a pretty shallow angle going into turn 2 and, you know, just run wide. I think that was Riedmüller he hit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so too. It was one of the Maniti cars.
Is Turi out? Or did he repair the car? No.
Well,
okay,
yeah,
he's out.
no.
He's out, okay. I'm looking at the standings. I mean, Seifert lost out a few positions. Has 2. They lost both 4 positions at the start.
Yeah. We're right up there at the front. Benton Reader lost 2.
Yeah, a very
Pushki.
bad start for him.
Pushki gained 3.
Yeah.
Started from 8.
And Weller, was he? Was René Weller 9th or 12th after the penalty?
He was 12th after the penalty.
Yeah, so he lost also, lost out.
Yeah, I think René Weller was collected also by Lorenzo Turi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be
on the
one
track.
of the Costa cars for sure.
Yeah, I think it was even both of them, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I think first Weller and then Fekela.
Okay, I just got the message from race control that Ben Reader overtook Riedmüller when the slow zone was hauled out, but they changed positions again because Riedmüller slowed down too much, or too fast, better said. But they swapped positions again.
Okay, that's good to know. It's absolutely impressive the gap the Team Holland cars were able to pull against the rest of the field. And Wolborn 2.1 seconds ahead of his teammate as well.
Yeah, I mean the other ones have a hard time now because on track they can't get really overtaken, and now they can play their strategy out. So very, very good outcome for them. And we go again.
Yes, and already there's lots of battles going on in the background. I think there's Lucas Murnau trying to make a move on both Streamline cars, and that worked. Not quite.
Not really.
Yeah, at least one of them, Seifert, gets pushed right there by Murnau. 3 wide into turn 4.
Oh, has slid there through the corner. I think the tires are very cold.
Yeah, let me see that.
Oh, that was a lag. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be.
Müller also pulled a gap to Ben Reader already.
Yeah, that might be another advantage right now for the Streamline boys, as they were starting on the soft. Or the super soft even,
Super
sorry.
soft, yeah.
Yeah.
But they need to be careful not to destroy the tires too soon. But also I think that, you know, in front they can't really, you know, the guys in the top 5 are too fast for them. If they can hold 6th and 7th place, I think they're in a good position. Oh, Ben Reader sliding a lot, as we know him.
Yeah, we've seen that last race as well. Standing the inside, but Pushka will still attack into turn 1, very close there to the edge of the track. Pushka makes it past. Now, is Benton Reader able to drive a counter? Oh no! Yeah.
He wanted to go on the outside again, Ben Reader. I suspected it will end in tears.
and I think he lost his front wing in the course. Or was this like a... No, I think he still has it,
got
yeah.
it. He's got it still,
He's
yeah.
still got it. Yeah, it's still there. That was just my eyes not working.
It seems that Hess is struggling a little.
Yeah.
And Reeve has made it past Pushke with that situation.
Yeah. He took advantage of this as well.
Oh,
Oof,
that was a touch.
Yeah.
Not the cleanest of racing so far, I must say.
Yeah, no. I mean, first two races were like really, really clean. Not many situations like we've seen now only in the first 4 laps, and 2 of them were slow zones. So the gloves are
Holborn
off.
pulling out a gap in front is very fast.
Yeah, this is what we expect by the Team Holland cars.
Pushke and Reeve are battling in front. Oh, that was a touch again.
Mighty swerve by Lucas Murray.
Yeah, he touched him at 300 kph, I think, you know. He was lucky to not go into the wall.
He's alongside Hess into 4. Oh, and once again very close to the rear of Hess.
That's the problem with people trying to leave it to the last moment, you know. If somebody like jinx it a little bit, touch them and you're off.
Yeah.
So Pushke again in front of Reeve, which was expected. I think that the Streamline car is just not good enough.
But still, what a positive development for Streamline. They were like dead last for the first 2 races, and now they are fighting for points, at least for now. They are on a different strategy than everyone else, of course, but still.
Well, if maybe another slow zone or safety car comes out, maybe they can stretch their tires, you know, enough.
Yeah, that help them, of course.
Holborn again with the fastest lap time.
Yeah.
He's already 4 seconds ahead of his teammate. And
Oh.
Seifert struggling out of the last corner.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a swerve once again by Lucas Murno as well. Out of the final corner. Don't know if that caught him out a bit.
Oh, Streamline cars very close to each other.
Oh, Lucas Murno is struggling. Lost his rear there out of turn 2.
Oh, a bit of a late move. Touches.
And now Seifert made it through. Wow, they are very slidey. Lots of cars very slidey today.
I have the feeling that the tires are not really up temperature.
Yeah.
But I think that Murno is struggling generally.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time he's really in the midst of something. Usually he was like driving very calm and consistent, like where he is right now, around P9, 10, 11.
Smith is in front of Reeve. Reeve lost a place also against Hess.
Yeah.
What happened there?
We've seen that the Streamline boys were very close to each other. Don't know if there was some sort of mistake or it was just
I hope
track.
that they didn't touch.
Yeah, that would be terrible. But they, for the first time, have a good race. Chance to score a
And
good
Poland
result.
seems to have catched up a little bit to Holborn.
Yeah, the gap was higher before.
Yeah, it was almost at 4 seconds.
Yeah, now it just dropped below 3 for a bit. There's so much going on, it's hard to catch up to what's happening.
We got the double screen now.
Yeah.
Mitchell. Not sure who the other 2 guys are. His
So I
teammate,
think
obviously.
these are the better Julia cars. This should be Vela and Benton Reader. So Benton Reader is behind Mitchell, and then it is Danny
Danny
Weller.
Weller, yeah. And Hess is pursuing Smith at the moment.
Oh, running wide there. Benton Reader, he lost out to his teammate.
Yeah,
did he? Yeah, he did.
Daniel
He
is
did.
sadly very susceptible to pressure. You know, just put a little pressure on him and he will make a mistake. So yeah.
This is now on board with Daniel. And on board with Roy Seifert at the same time.
Double
Benton.
overtake.
Oh, contact between Seifert and Reeve.
I have the feeling that Reeve has problems with the tires already.
Yeah.
Smith is not struggling as much.
No. Benton Reed at the same time, when we were just watching what happened to Seifert, made it past Weller once again.
Maybe
But
he
they lost
let him through.
Yeah. But they lost a bit of touch with Luke Mitchell ahead of them. Oh, once again, sideways through turn 10, as we just cut away there. Yeah, Danny Weller, so impressive in the first 2 rounds, and now he's struggling very much.
I'm very surprised by that. I don't know if they just didn't find a good setup, because Ben Reader was also up there, at least in Melbourne.
Yeah. No, Benton Reader was pretty good at Kyalami as well. He was running 5th, battling Turi for 5th when his engine gave in towards the end of the race.
But it must be said that the 3 are in a league of their own right now. 5 seconds between them, and then a big gap to Pushka behind.
Yeah. Seifert still didn't make it past Reeve, despite Reeve's struggles.
Yeah, Reeve has lost 4 seconds to his teammate.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Roy Seifert could go faster, but he just doesn't find a way past. Oh, running right there through 4.
Maybe the Streamline cars have got good top speed, because Hess isn't making it past Smith either.
I've been told that the Streamline car design is like averaging things out, so...
Yeah, could be, but it may run low wings in the setup.
Yeah. So setup-wise, of course, there's lots of things you still can do.
Boah, but Seifert has been sliding through these last 2 corners. A lot of smoke.
Yeah. Oh! Once again. Roy Seifert. But it must be said that the initial car design of the Scuderia Cesario car...
Look at that, Riedmüller with the fastest lap, and they're closing up to Wellborn.
Oh, will we have another 3-way battle for the lead in a couple of laps? It looks like it. Is this now the time where the tires drop off for the Team Holland cars? We've seen that happen before in the races prior to this one.
It must be said that all of them are on the medium tires, as far as I know.
Yeah, they are.
But the Holland team, you know, struggled with the tires for some reason. Maybe because of the setup. Wow. Seifert has a little of a thing with track limits and with stability too.
Yeah. Last time we were joking about Daniel Benton Reader spending half of the race sideways. Now it's Roy Seifert.
But here maybe if he gets a good exit. Yeah, could be possible. He's got DRS.
Yeah, but initially Reeve pulled away out of the corner. Straight is just not
Wait,
strong.
you see it. The top speed is bad from the.
Oh, and now he's off
his
entirely. into the wall.
I think he lost his front wing. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, too bad for Roy. He pushed too hard, and yeah, it was obvious he's not got the top speed compared to the streamline car. Even with DRS, he couldn't close up.
Yeah, he almost lost it on the curb there again when he was trying to rejoin. Yeah, it was coming to him. I mean, he was struggling so much.
Yeah,
No.
just lost it on the curb.
Yeah.
Lucky to not lose a wheel there.
Yeah.
Or if a safety car comes, he's back again in the race.
Now let's see which tires he'll be choosing for that pit stop. That definitely is unscheduled.
Yeah, a few laps I would say. Maybe 5 laps too early, but I would go for the harder tires and just see where I end up.
So we expect another change to mediums. Was already on the mediums. And yeah, it's the mediums once again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see when
at the front, Riedmüller has catched up to Polenz. Volbon has stabilized the gap to Polenz, so...
Yeah, he should be inside his DRS window now. Not. Let's see. It's a very close affair. Yeah, rear wing goes open. He has DRS.
Volbon again with the fastest lap. But this will be interesting to see. We know that Holland cars have got better top speed.
Yeah, we sure know that. But still impressive. We didn't think that Meniti, or at least Max Riedmüller, would be strong as he was in Kyalami. The track should suit the Meniti car a lot better than Bahrain, but still, there he is, fighting Pascal Polenz for P2.
I would recommend to him just wait, because if the Holland cars destroy the tires, you know, no use to attack now.
Yeah. That should be a good tactic, if that is the case today as well.
Just needs to bide his time, be patient. I mean, he's 3 seconds behind Volbon. He could even undercut them, overcut them. You know, that's a gap that is, you know, not a problem. You can do everything.
He might just need to look for traffic where he comes out if he tries to undercut them. But as we expect that the Team Holland Racing team cars might be at the pits a little earlier than everyone else, and maybe do a pit stop more than everyone else, then...
Or maybe they have the problem solved. Let's hope for them, maybe.
Yeah, that could be as well, of course.
I see that Hess is still behind Smith, so the super soft tires are still going strong, it seems.
Yeah.
We got Weller against Mitchell.
Yeah. So, no, that's not over yet. Whoa. We've seen that go wrong before.
Yeah. I think that Denny more or less let him through there again.
Yeah. Benton Reader also made it past Mitchell. We've seen them run behind the Optiminal car before, so Benton Reader made it past. And it might be rather a matter of when, but if Danny Weller makes it past Luke Mitchell.
But a good race from Mitchell, you know, subbing this race.
Yeah. Also, Optiminal not expected to have the best car of all of them, so running in P10 is still good. Of course, up to P10 in the end will receive development funds. So even if there are only points up until P8, a top 10 finish is still worth something.
Yeah, they need to finish the race. That's That's always important. But it seems that Weller could go faster.
Yeah, and he will try it this time once again. There is the DRS activation. Just don't break too late and run wide. Give Mitchell the opportunity to counter that. This time this looked much better.
Should be okay, I think.
Yeah. Mitchell has DRS, but isn't able to come close enough via the braking zone. So Weller up into P10.
Weller is running on the soft tire, I think.
So the live timing says Weller is on hard.
On hard tires, oh,
yes.
Okay. Maybe he's got a tire advantage in a few laps. Let's see.
Yeah. So we have 4 cars on the hard tires right now. These are Lucas Murno, Danny Weller, Gonzalez Capo, and Philip Fekkeler. Let's focus on the battle for P2
Yeah,
here.
Riedmüller could go for it, I think. Will be a late move. No top speed.
Yeah, these Holland cars are really tough. Make a move against. Oh, he ran a little bit aggressively over the curb there at the exit of turn 2.
That is a problem. He's like close in the corners, destroying his tires, but he can't overtake him. And even if he overtakes him, I think that Polenz would come back easily. He needs to try something different, maybe a move into turn 10 it is here, I think.
Yeah.
Polenz using all of it. It can go wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pulling away, even when he's in the slipstream.
Yeah, let's stay on board with Max Riedmüller for the long straight to see how it looks with the DRS activated.
No chance.
Yeah.
He's pulling away.
Yeah, despite the DRS, Polenz is running away. So he needs to hope for a mistake for Polenz, or to overtake him in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, it is up for grabs, second place, I think. Riedmüller could get it, but the win, I think that Polenz will protect the win, at least for Holborn.
Yeah, pulling a gap. As we see Daniel Benton-Reeder making it past Jack Reeve, but Reeve...
Yeah, he could come back at him.
Ah. But they both have DRS. Oh.
A good move by Benton-Reeder.
Yeah.
I think Murno will now come into the clutches of both of them.
Yeah, I should think so.
And Hess is still behind Smith.
Yeah, Aaron Smith still running in 5th on the super softs. 16 laps.
You know, if he makes 2 or 3 more laps, it's working.
Yeah. So I think at the beginning of the race there was a question in the chat whether the Streamline boys are on a 2 or 3 stop with the softs at the start. I think it's more and more looking like they're still going for a 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, they could be going for a 2-stop with super softs, so
yeah,
it's pretty much amazing. And it seems that the Holland cars are able to do a 2-stop too, so...
Yeah. Fingers crossed that this time no extra pit stop is ruining their race. Aleksandar has now round the outside off turn 4, sliding a little wide, and Aaron Smith keeps 5th. There's a question in the chat, times from Murno versus Danny. Let me just look that up. So, the last lap time of Lucas Murno was a 1:31.6. Danny Weller had a 1:32.0. So Lucas Murno, the best driver right now on the hard tire. Yeah, he's the fastest one on the hard.
Yeah, he's losing a little bit to Hess and Smith in front, but it's all, yeah, I think still good for him.
Yeah, really is. And finished race 1 in 11th, finished race 2 in 9th. So if he finishes race 3 in 7th, that would continue that upward momentum.
And in 3 races he wins the race. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that Monaco maybe? Maybe it's possible. Yeah, but Hess, you know, the advantage that he may had at the start, or the longevity advantage, I think that's far gone, and Fekkeler spins out. I think he was fighting against Seifert, or at least trying to catch him.
Sure, we'll see the replay of that Fekkeler situation. Now, for now, let's focus on Smith versus Hess.
Rita is making no impressions on Murno just at the moment, so this is the best battle we have got on track. And I would expect to see pit stops soon.
Yeah. We're both expecting two-stop strategies for...
Maybe one stop for the hard guys, but for everybody else, I think 2 stops.
Yeah, exactly. That is what we expect. Aleksandar has still not finding any way past Aaron Smith. The super softs still going strong for him, at least. Jake Reeve, we've seen him lose out over the last couple of laps. Now, let's see what happens here. Well, I think that's all on his own. Yeah.
Felt the pressure from Seifert end. Nice livery though from the Sec.
Yeah, really is.
It reminds me of a car about 30 years ago.
Yeah. But that car was a little more successful than the Cossack is for now.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm not sure if Hess is doing himself any favors, you know. I mean, he's like 10 laps behind Smith. He's just destroying the tires at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Hess is that much faster than Smith. Maybe 1, 2, 3 tenths.
Yeah, so with the DRS, Smith might still be able to stay with him. But what do you do now in that situation if you're Aleksandar Hess?
I would wait, honestly, but yeah. You know, attacking when the tires are still good, Smith's tires are still good, you know, it makes no sense if you can't get past. So I would just wait, you know, if he started attacking now, lap 20, I think he would have a better chance, but now his tires are shot, so...
Yeah.
I mean,
look how close he's running to him.
Yeah. And he's sliding in every turn, it feels like.
Yeah. Remember what happened to Roy Seifert when this was the situation for him?
Yeah.
And I think this was also while running behind a streamlined car. I think in his case it was Jack Reeve.
Riedmüller is close to Poland again.
Yeah.
Only 3/10 between them.
Almost 6 seconds now between Woolborn in P1 and his teammate in second.
Will be very frustrating for Riedmüller. I know that feeling when you got a fast car, but you just haven't got the straight line speed.
Yeah, but he shouldn't try anything desperate and risk a
Reader
crash.
could go for a move, I think.
Yeah, he's very close. Let's see. Yeah, he's going for it.
Nice move.
Yeah.
Mono didn't defend it too much. I think he knows that the long game is what he's looking for.
Yeah, it's working in his favor with the hard tires. There's no need to risk anything right now. Now it's 10 seconds for Benton Reader to the next car ahead of him.
Yeah. Yeah, if there is no safety, I think the top 3 are like a group for themselves, then from 4th to 6th, and yeah, then the rest.
Watching the fight for P2 once again, but I don't think anything will happen.
No, sadly not. I would be interested to see the onboard from Riedmüller in the second sector, if he can close up there at least.
Yeah.
But I have the feeling that the Holland cars are much better on the tires here.
Smith in the pits, so
Yeah,
the first
first
for
one.
a regular pit stop. No surprise on the super softs, but a big surprise that he made them work until lap 22 and he was still
But
setting competitive
it
lap times.
seems that probably most of the guys will go for a one-stop.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like because of the slow zone for a few laps, but seems to be the way to go.
Well, the tire degradation is not as high as we expected it to be.
But that means everybody who went for the hard tires, yeah, lost out pretty much.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see if Smith goes
Aaron
for the...
Smith has went for the mediums.
Yeah, that's what I expected, yeah. But that is a good move, I think. Less fuel, he will make it to the end, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I think we're pretty sure now that everyone is on a one-stop strategy, most likely. I mean, there were cars already in the pits, for example, Rene Weller, but he was caught up in that turn 1 accident.
Yellow in sector through.
Oh.
Yeah, away again.
Did you see anyone drop down the standings?
No,
Yeah, okay.
No place changes, only time probably.
Now we see Luke Mitchell. Did he have something to do with it?
Not sure, to be honest. Nice train of cars here behind Jack Reeve.
Yeah. Benton Reader didn't pull too much away of Murner. I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the medium tires are going down slowly. I mean, especially for Benton Reader, he is really pushing the tires.
Yeah. Now this is the next battle we are looking forward to. Murno against Reeve.
Riedmüller has a bigger gap now to Poland's, 2 seconds almost.
Maybe he's doing that on purpose to save a bit of tires.
Could be.
Or, well, his tires are going down the cliff right now after running so close for multiple laps.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, you know, following that close is never good.
Yeah. I don't think Reeves' pit stop should be too far away. That was well. He's
Yeah,
still
it
getting closer
makes no
to...
sense. It makes no sense to, not go in.
Or do you think he maybe will extend 5-6 laps more into a super soft? No, there he is.
No, I can't imagine that. The tires are pretty much dead, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
He will go for the mediums. He has 2 laps less now than Smith, so I think he's in good place. And we see some other pit crews ready, so we can expect some stops, I think, now.
Yeah. There's Jack Reeve. Let's see which color do the stickers on his tires have. It's white, so it's the medium for Jack Reeve. Lap
And he
24.
will come in front of Kativo, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be close, I think. Maybe on the cold tires, he might be vulnerable. Ah, no. Gap is too big for Kativo to make any kind of move into 4.
But Riedmüller shows it's possible to be competitive with that car.
Yeah, we've seen that in qualifying already, that Kativo was struggling.
Riedmüller in the pits.
Go. So maybe it really was the tires dropping off, because if he was going into the pits, it didn't make any sense to drop behind.
Will be interesting to see if the undercut is working here.
Yeah. Will probably be the mediums as well. Yes, it is.
Surprise me if anything else, yeah.
Oh, there's a Kostek coming down the main straight.
Yeah.
He will be ahead of him. I think that's even Fekela who is a lap down.
Yeah, he's lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smith with the fastest lap. Murno in the pits.
Now that will be interesting what he is choosing.
But it seems the Holland cars are driving on.
Yeah, that's gonna be very close.
Nope.
Oh, pushing him a bit wide. Murno has gone for the softs, by the way. That's the yellow tire that I've seen there. Side by side defense.
Yeah, too late
against
from
Reeve.
Murno. We will get him, I think.
With
Right
the
hand corner.
switchback. Murno holds on and stays ahead. Oh! Light dive there by Jack Reeve.
Yeah, but that's bad luck for Reeve. He can't, use the fresh tires now. And Polands is in the pits.
Yeah, so we'll see.
This will be interesting against Riedmüller.
Yeah. Did the undercut work? Yeah, I think he
No.
should stay ahead, yeah.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
The gap is even bigger now, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so too. Roy Seifert.
Probably the tires need some warming up. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh!
Yeah, Roy Seifert is out of the race. He's continuing.
Rear wing missing as well. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's DNF'd, yeah.
Yep. Second off moment there.
But it seems that the tires need a lot of time to warm up, so you lose time if you pit first.
Yeah. Maybe this is the chance for Riedmüller now. Don't think so. It's lap times.
The thing is, Holland cars, they gain the time on the straights. You don't need to push or anything, and Riedmüller needs to pull it out in the corners, so it's not easy.
Yeah, and now if there is anything else coming on than the medium tire, I'd be very surprised. Volvo easily should come out in the race lead. Pushke in the pits as
also
well.
in the pits.
And he's also on mediums, of course he is.
Hess will hope to overtake Smith now.
Yeah. Let's see, where is Smith? No, Smith is already passed. Fournier passed. Oh, Philip Puschke. What's happened there?
That's weird.
That's gonna be a safety car. What has happened?
Engine is on. Engine is still on. I think he's struggling with his wheel or something.
Yeah,
Technical problems, I think.
the championship leader might
Did he
just
retire the car?
retire here.
No, he's trying to continue.
I mean, he's definitely out of the points now, but
Yeah, he stood there for like 20 seconds. No
Yeah.
surprise there. The field is pretty bunched up. It looked like a technical problem for me.
yeah, this is another spot where you would park the car. And there's nothing wrong with the car itself.
Riedmüller with the
Riedmüller
fastest lap.
fastest lap.
Yeah, but he's still too far away, and even if he's on his tail, he can't overtake him.
Yeah, we've seen that now for 10 laps. That is not possible. You
I
can
hope
just
I won't jinx the race of the Holland cars, but I think the top three are pretty much decided if nothing special happens.
I think the only chance for Riedmüller is to put Poland under pressure and just hope that he makes a mistake, but otherwise I don't see him pass him.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if Poland makes a mistake, he can just pass him again on the straight, so...
Yeah, oh, Smith and Weller, they were
Yeah.
trading places.
Let's see
This
what
is-
happened here. Oh, he went... Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a wheel issue or something.
It just looks like something off. Oh my goodness, that was a
Yeah.
scary moment. Both streamlines.
Yeah, he parked it, you know, so you need to decide if you want to go inside or outside. And when two guys are fighting, it's not easy. Yeah, Puschke again in the pits. Holborn now with the fastest lap. No points for fastest lap?
No.
Question? Okay.
No.
That was just a thought maybe, but yeah, we will see what happens there. Sad to see his race go like this, you know.
Yeah, he was consistently running in the points once again. And like you've said before, can gain a lot by consistency. Now Jeffrey Fournier, he's in the pits for the second
Yeah.
time now.
And Weller too. Danny Weller.
I was about to ask which one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure myself, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be
Oh,
close.
this will be close, yeah. Hard tires for Weller.
Okay.
He doesn't seem to be confident in the tire life, which is surprising. I think he will struggle. The tires
me
are
too.
slower.
I think he will instantly be eaten up by Jeffrey Fournier.
Switchback. And we got yellow in sector 2. It's... Who was it? Is it Puschke again? No,
Oh
it's a
no,
Kostek.
it's a Kostek. René Weller. He lost position now to his brother Fournier. Ah, he was winning the brother duel. So let's see if René Weller can come back from that situation. Benton Reader in the pits. Yeah, he's one of the last ones that wasn't. Luke Mitchell, he also hasn't pitted yet. He's probably trying to extend to go for the super soft. Hamilton reader has switched to the mediums. There we have him, Luke Mitchell in the optimal. He's on a alternate strategy, definitely. Started on the mediums like most of the grid did. Maybe with the softs towards the end, the super softs of course towards the end, he might be trying something. Gap between Wilborn and Poland still at 5.1. Poland's in Riedmüller 2 seconds, so we don't expect anything to happen there anytime soon. Smith is in 4th, and he's in 4th on merit. What a comeback this would be for Streamline Engineering. So far, their strategy has worked really, really well for them.
Yeah, that's where I expect Smith to be, honestly. At the front, not at the back, like he was the last races.
That I think is just Philipp Bischkan lapping himself.
Yeah, with fresh tires, maybe even soft tires, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no need to fight that for Smith. Now Mitchell is in the pit lane. Let's see if he indeed goes for the super softs, because he was extending his stint by a lot compared to the others. No, I think that's still the medium. Okay.
Yeah, it's the medium.
And he is ahead of Danny Weller, 9th. I think that's where he was ahead of the pit stops as well. I think he was running 10th, but of course he gained a spot due to the situation with Philipp Bischkan.
Yeah, he's right, he was. But now under pressure from Weller.
Yep.
And funnily enough, Fournier didn't make an emission after the, opening lap out of it.
Yeah, no, he didn't. So that battle here is very interesting, because this is for development funds. I've said this at the beginning of the race. Every team can develop their car during the season, and the top 10 of each race is Danny Weller runs wide.
You shouldn't do that too often, there is a limit.
That certainly was a track limit warning here. Steve there. He might have received there. Luke Mitchell already going defensive, forcing Weller to the outside.
Yeah.
No. Trying to sell the dummy into turn 1. Mitchell still hangs on to it. Stays ahead for now, but now into turn 4, the next opportunity for Danny Weller arises. Down the inside. Mitchell makes use of that fresh tire sets and brakes late. Manages to stay ahead of Weller.
The livery is a little bit funny.
Yeah.
The hashtag, but yeah.
So far they have not been that OP, but
Running in the mix, I would say.
yeah. I mean, they weren't there at Kyalami at all, so it's just the second race of the season, and at both races they only had one car. The Zoo raced for them in Australia. Now Luke Mitchell, both were only substitution drivers ahead of this season. Now he's started to pull away from Danny Weller. He's still inside his DRS window. 1 or 2 laps more and he might be able to break free from the better Julia behind him. Fournier is back in the mix. gap to Weller is under 1 second again.
And Knezevic is in the pits.
I think that's a bug because it says he's like in the pits for 5
For
minutes
5
now.
minutes, okay.
Yeah, he's still running. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a freeway group. That is the closest we have on track right now.
Yeah.
Bekele seems to be attacking Pushke.
No, I think it was the other way around. Pushke just overtook Fekela because
Okay.
Pushke was running last.
Ah,
Oh, nearly takes him out there. Pushke runs right through 4. Super Palco has written in the chat, today is the day a lot of the other teams are able to get their first points of the season. And yes, it is. So, Streamline didn't score any points so far. They're currently running in the points in 4th and 8th. And Lucas Murno, he's running in 6th. He might also score the first points for Infernal Void.
but interesting to see the difference between Smith and Reeve. There's more than 25 seconds, I think, between them.
Yeah. They were
They were
running together.
Yeah, they're running together, Reeve in front even, so it seems that Smith has just coped better with the tires, with the track.
Yeah, especially in the first stint. I think Smith was still running in 5th and keeping Hess behind when Reeve was dropping down the order.
Yeah.
This is another battle we have right now. Daniel Benton Reader back in the points. Running in 7th, and he might be able to attack Lucas Murno.
Holding up the flag for Betulia this race. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a
Great
big
move.
speed difference.
Yeah.
Not sure if Mulno went off throttle or something.
Benton Reader certainly seemed surprised by that himself. Or did Murno try to get behind to have DRS on the second straight?
That's what I thought, but it didn't work out.
No. Now Benton Reader should be able to pull away. And of course, to keep up his streak, Murno should finish 7th, so that he wins in 3 races time, if my math is correct.
Yeah. I'll just take a look if it's Monaco.
There is that 3-way battle once again. Luke Mitchell still wasn't quite able to break away from Danny Weller and to just get him out of that DRS zone.
So the race would be Jerez. Maybe he has some language, advantage. Maybe he can ask the marshals where the track is good and bad. But one thing we should take a look at, the next track is Montreal, Canada. So I think that will be a good track for the Holland cars.
Yeah.
Very strong here, and Montreal is, from my opinion at least, even more high speed.
Yeah, it definitely is. So that's my impression as well.
The other teams should find a ace up their sleeve if they want to counter that somehow.
Yeah. And Montreal is one of those tracks that has natural track limits with the walls very close to the edge of the racetrack. So it isn't as forgiving as Bahrain is, for example.
Yeah, and then we are coming to Watkins Glen, also a rather fast track, I would say. Maybe not as much as Montreal.
Yeah, lots of fast flowing corners. This
There
is
we
the
have the
calendar.
schedule.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the first sector, especially in Watkins Glen, is all about top speed.
Yeah.
Perez then is again a more downforce track. Monaco is
Straight line speed all the
yeah.
way.
yeah. Spa, yeah, will be interesting. Hockenheim, you need to have a good mix, I think. Yeah, I mean it will be interesting, especially in the latter part of the season. It's like a good mix. One track that needs low downforce, then again high downforce. But I think that yeah, we will see the Holland cars at the front also at the next race.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks' time.
And that is, of course, still a big if they really got that tire problem under control, which they seem to have in the first two races.
Yeah, I mean, in Montreal, the rear tires are of an issue, just accelerating.
Yeah.
But, you know, looking at the race here, I think Bahrain also, you know, back tires and, yeah, maybe, yeah, I think that the front tires are not so much the problem. I think even that here, the rear tires are more of a problem.
Yeah. But I think we're still surprised that I think everyone now is making it through with just one pit stop. We were expecting this track to be a lot harder to the tires, to use up more of the tires. But I mean, just look what how long the Streamline guys were able to hold onto that super soft.
Yeah, that's what I expected from the mediums.
Yeah.
And really only the hards, you know, be able to do a one stop. But, you know, you lose a lot of time going into the pits, and pretty sure that every team calculated the time loss, and yeah, they went for a one stop.
Yeah, that is also something that is very interesting at Montreal, as this is one of the shortest pit lanes of the calendar.
Yeah.
So maybe you might be able to calculate one pit stop more at that track.
Yeah, and I think that safety cars are much more of a possibility than here.
Yeah, definitely.
I could see one of the Beta Julia drivers in the wall. Yeah, let's see if that happens. You know, even some trickeries I would expect from Yannis Volborn, for example, you know, to go through the pit lane when there is a safety car, you know, he tries to find everything he can. That's something that race control need to have an eye on. At the front, distable, Poland's, I think, losing a little bit of time to Volborn, Riedmüller making no impression on Poland's. And then a big gap to Smith. Hess, yeah, he is slower after the pit stop. He couldn't catch up to Smith again. Benton Reader also in no man's land. Murno with a good race. Reeve, in the end, I must say, a little bit disappointing, you know, compared to Smith. A big gap now. Yeah, and then we come to our battle for ninth. Mitchell, Vela and Fournier.
Yeah, that late pit stop for Mitchell didn't really pay off. He isn't able to really break away from Danny Weller. He's still within the DRS window.
But I could imagine that he has an advantage towards the end, you know.
Yeah,
2-3 laps. Happen. Yeah, it matters. Especially as these cars seem to be a bit slidey here. Maybe with the tire warm-up being not so good.
That might be an issue. Maybe compare lap times. The last lap time of Jack Reeve was a 1:30.2. Luke Mitchell set a 1:30.1. Maybe he'll be there at the end of the race.
3.5 seconds at the moment.
Yeah, now he gained even more. Reeve set a 130.9 last time around, Louis Mitchell a 130.1, so this might be something we're able to look forward to.
Maybe Reeve is also just managing. He's got some gap. And Riedmüller is in the pits.
That is odd, but I think the gap behind him is
Yeah,
big
the
enough
gap behind
to allow this.
is big enough. I don't know if he wants to put pressure on Poland or something.
Maybe.
But he would need to go for the super softs for that to work.
Let's see. Which tire is it? That is
Medium.
another set of medium. Okay.
I'm not sure what the idea is here.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I don't think that he can really win in 15 laps. He would need to be, I don't know, more than a second faster.
Yeah, 1.5 second-ish maybe to be able to catch up to points. Volbon should be safe one way or another.
Yeah.
Or maybe trick them into another pit stop, I don't know.
I don't think, I think the guys are, it's enough to know that they just need to drive to the end.
Yeah.
If they made it like 25 laps on a full tank of fuel, they won't have any problem in the second of the race.
Yeah, I don't know what was the thinking behind this. Let's see. Bragging rights, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, it brings in no points, but yeah, maybe just to break up the monotony of the race. Just do something else. Yellow in
there's
sector
another
2.
yellow.
And it's gone again. Somebody else in the pits. I see a white
There
car.
is. Smith has lost out to Hess. Kativo, both Manitis. I think that yellow had something to do with Hess. Smith.
Yeah,
sorry.
Smith.
Yeah.
I think that Smith spun probably.
Yeah. There he is in 5th now.
Yeah, he's looking a little bit like on X, I would say.
Yeah.
Not sure why.
There's Kativo. Out of the pit lane, but he's pretty much out of this race. Oh, Fekala
in the background.
Kativo in the
Yeah,
background.
Kostek.
Yeah, that was Fekala. That is actually for position.
Yeah.
It looked like there even was contact between the two of them.
I hope that we see a replay from Smith. What went there? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That looked a little bit weird, but yeah, was on his own, obviously.
Yeah,
he touched the wall, I think, yeah. Yeah, the car will be crooked. I'm pretty sure that it's crooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drove also like that on the main straight.
Yeah,
it looked
look,
weird.
It's pulling to the left.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he bent the car. But he's got 6 seconds to Benton Reader. Let's see if he can hold on to that.
Yeah. Oh, how disappointing with that for Streamline.
Weller, I think, went past Mitchell in the meantime.
Yes, he did. Reeve pulling away from them.
Yeah.
In the final point scoring position.
Oh, it's very close.
Yeah, let's also watch the gap between Smith and Benton Reader. Those Smith cars look like quite a handful to drive now. After that contact, late move by Mitchell.
Yeah, he could lose out to Fournier even.
Yeah, and he probably will now.
Both got DRS, but Fournier got got the slipstream, yeah, it's true.
Oh, that was too ambitious.
Yeah, just too late. Ben Reader is catching up to Smith. He's about second, I think, faster per lap.
He was running so well. That would be such a shame if he drops down the order now. Pushke still on the move right now. There's René Vella ahead of him. That should be quite of an easy job for Pushke. And now, I think that will be it for Philip Pushke. 51 seconds to Mitchell. He won't be able to make that up. What a shame for our championship leader. And this battle still is going strong. Fournier is now back in the hunt for 9th.
And I'm keeping an eye on the between Smith and Ben Reader. It's now down to 4 seconds.
Oh, Smith just has to hold on to it now.
I think that Reader will get
Fournier
him,
around the outside of Danny Weller. Ted pushing him a little bit on the curve there.
Yeah, he's got DRS for Fournier.
Oh my goodness, that was...
Mitchell will go through, yeah.
Yeah, Danny Weller.
I hope that the brakes aren't like getting hot or something.
Yeah. That could have ended dramatically for both of them.
And the gap between Smith and Ben Reader down to 3.5. I think that Ben Reader will get Smith, but he will stay ahead of Murno. Yellow in sector 2, yeah, it's Smith spun. Smith spun, I think.
Oh
yeah.
no! The race now going from bad to worse for Aaron Smith. Oh, what a shame.
I would just like to see it from his perspective. Maybe we can talk to him after the race. It just looked weird, the whole incident that he had. Oh, the car is crooked. Yeah, he can't brake properly. He probably went away on braking.
But it's weird what happened in the first place. I mean,
yeah.
After the contact with the wall, of course, now his car is crooked, but first place...
It just looked like he bounced off the curb, like at a 90 degree.
Yeah.
I think he's got problems with the wheel or something that just doesn't look normal.
Yeah.
Because you know.
Is this no? This must be the second
away from the curb at like a 90 degree. Yeah. It's just weird. I think that's again a problem with I don't know, sim rig or something.
Smith 7th. Murno is past. He's going slow. Oh no.
Yeah. I think that's not even down to the car at this moment.
No, oh my goodness,
what happened
now
there?
through back Marcus. Oh.
What happened there? What are they doing?
So, I think he had another moment because he lost out to Murno. He's now down in 7th. Then these are Kativo and Fekela that are a lap down.
It seemed like they wanted to let him through again, but I mean, you can't brake like on the racing line.
Yep. Fekela once again trying it against Kativo into turn 1.
Yeah, they're having their little bit battle there.
Yeah, good for them. So at least it's not boring running there at the back. Your own. Now Kativo going for it once again.
And I think that
the switchback didn't work for Fekela, or does it?
Yeah, very bad line from Fekela.
Yeah. That's it. Please take care with all of the lap cars, the cars on the lead lap behind. Jack Reeve just made it through. Aaron Smith with an element. Oh, at this pace, I don't think he will be able to keep bit in the points even.
Yeah,
Still 10 laps to go.
He'll get eaten by Mitchell, Weller, Pushka. Not Pushka, but you know the 3 guys behind his teammate for sure. And those guys are still fighting for 9th place, so it will be interesting.
Yeah. So that battle might ultimately be for the final point scoring position. That 3-way battle between Fournier, Mitchell, and Weller. They're still running within 1 second of each other.
Yeah, they will notice that Smith is like slow and they will push now. I just hope that it won't end in tears for anybody.
Yeah.
At the front it's pretty stable. Poland's to Volvo 1.7 seconds. Riedmüller catching up a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah, I think the top 6, if no one makes any mistake right now, are pretty much settled. But it's that battle for 7th that is the most interesting right now. Remember, Streamline haven't scored any points yet. Neither has Optiminal with Luke Mitchell, who is still in the fight for points here. If Smith really drops down, or continues to drop down. And now they've even pulled up to Fournier all by themselves. Or at least, no, sorry, to Reeve. Fournier is now close to Reeve. He was able to break away from Mitchell and Weller.
I could imagine that Reeve is like playing roadblock for Smith to try to hold that 7th position.
Oh, but is it really worth that? Is it, I mean, very risky for Reeve. In the end, if Smith crashes out completely because of that issue, and Reeve collides with Fournier or just gets eaten up, they might have no points whatsoever! Late move by Reeve. Fournier makes it through. And is now
but maybe on the back straight.
Yep.
We will get him back, I think. Oh. Oh, sliding.
Yeah. Fournier with a switchback. Let's go side by side. Take care, guys. Into the hairpin now. Fournier with the better line. Yeah, and that has backed him right into Mitchell.
Yeah, but he's got DRS again if he doesn't get overtaken into the slow corner now.
So that's a 4-way fight now for the final point.
I honestly didn't expect Reeve to hang on the outside into the right-hander, the fast right-hander. Oh, this struggling. I think the tires are dead for Reeve again.
Yeah. Which drivers still have to make a pit stop in the chat? No one. We expect that they all made their pit stops.
The thing is, with the medium tires, they are harder compound, obviously, but I think the problem is that the cars are sliding so much because of the track temperature. So that maybe even the super softs are working better for some drivers.
Yeah.
Mid seems to hold on for the moment.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. I
Yeah.
didn't want to curse him. Yeah, this is the tire situation right now for anyone that is interested.
Mulno on the soft tires.
Yeah, but he was starting on the hards.
Ah, yeah.
And, oh, Danny Weller had a bit of a moment in the background. His car stepped out there.
Yeah, on acceleration he lost it a little bit. Whoa, losing it almost again.
Yeah. Tires are a bit of an issue right now, once again. as it seems. Lots of drivers struggling.
I think that the drivers just overpush the tires, it seems, because, you know, if you're starting on a full tank and you make it to the halfway point, with the mediums, you should make it without problems to the end. I would think, at least.
I think that was just Yannis Wolborn lapping Philip Puschke for a second time.
Yeah. He'll be happy to get through that train of cars as fast as possible.
Yeah. And with that race, of course, Yannis Wolborn will take the championship lead ahead of, away from Philip Puschke.
I think it will be a 1-2 in the standings.
It should be, but I'm not too good at maths, so
I'll
see.
look at it.
I think,
One
yeah.
moment.
I think, yeah. I think so.
It may be a tie between Paul and Riedmüller.
Yeah.
And I think that Riedmüller will be in front because of the win.
Yeah. Yeah, on countback it should be Riedmüller in second.
Yeah. Yeah, but the team standings, Holland should be in front.
So Fournier was able to break away from the DRS window of Jack Reeve, who was...
Yeah, I think Jack Reeve has not tires left at this moment.
Yeah.
He's driving on the rim.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Smith, despite we haven't seen him having that kind of problem as massively as he had before, but he's still losing time. So Fournier is slowly reeling him in, and you have seen it. You've just seen it. 5 laps to go. I mean, if Wolborn passes them, for them it will only be 4 laps to go, so this might save Aaron Smith.
Yeah.
Even though I think Yannis Wolborn could even say, well, screw it, I'm not trying to get involved there and stay behind.
Usually I would say that he would try to lap everybody, but if you know, he's a little bit careful now, he will just wait behind.
Puschke.
Yeah, the race control just warning about leaders coming through.
Yeah, so P9, 10 and 11 were asked to take care because Yannis Wolborn is behind them. There we have the situation. Where he still holds on to. Oh. Standing well at the second time he went off the road, or he was struggling.
Yeah, he will hope that they lose a bit of time now with the blue flags.
Yeah.
He maybe gets a chance again.
This of course might also be yellow in sector 2.
Yellow, yeah, that was short one.
I mean, that might be the chance for Luke Mitchell now. He's not moving over. Now he is.
But Weller will be right on his tail, I think.
Yep.
3/10 only.
Both Mitchell and Weller will now try to pull with Yannis Wolborn. When Reeve decides to let Wolborn through.
Fournier is catching slowly up to Smith, but not by much.
Yeah. 3 laps to go now. Oh, Danny Weller against Mitchell.
Ooh.
Spin for half a spin for Mitchell, but he loses the spot to Weller.
Yeah, but that could be a penalty or a switch of visions, I think.
Maybe we could see that again in the replay. Wilborn, in the meantime, has made it past that 3-car hustle.
Interestingly, Blens is not making up time on Poland, on Wilborn, even though he's lapping cars here.
Chat also agreed with me that Yannis should just take it slow behind them. Well, he didn't. He's now ahead of them.
It seems that Fournier and Smith are fast enough at the moment, at least.
Yeah. Oh, here's the situation.
Yeah. It seems that Mitchell lost it on his own, I think.
Yeah, if there was contact, it was very, very slight.
Yeah.
Some very little wheel banging, but I don't think that was the
Just looked,
case.
he lost it on the brakes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a top 10 result now lost for Optiminal.
And Weller is on Reeves' tail. Going for it.
Yep. He's past Jack Reeve. And that might be absolutely disappointing if Reeve isn't able to make it past Weller once more. Oh my goodness, contact once again. He also lost it on the brake.
Yeah, I think the tires are dead.
Yeah.
I think Reeve is struggling for some time.
And
now.
the gap between Smith and Fournier has just dropped below 1 second. Still, Yannis Wilborn might save Aaron Smith from Fournier.
Yeah, I'm interested if he will get involved in this situation.
Yep. I mean, he's about to start the final lap. Oh! Fournier!
Okay, now it's cleared up for the moment at least.
Yeah, that's good news if you're Aaron Smith. And now, that is very good news indeed for Aaron Smith.
Yeah, I think he's got it now because Fournier is 1 lap behind now.
Yeah. Of course, if Smith now keeps it on track.
Yeah.
Lucas Murno running in, and he's catched up to Benton.
Yeah, Ben Reader probably made a mistake or something. That the gap was big, I think, over 5 seconds or something.
It was. Lucas Murno.
Yeah, he's on the soft tires. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're not dead, they will be fast.
He has been consistently improving on these last couple of races. We did not expect him to be a points challenger for now, but
They should have 1 more lap, I think.
yeah,
If
they
I'm not
have.
mistaken. Yeah.
Oh, and Benton Reader ran wide.
Yeah.
What's the gap? He will have DRS.
He will have it, yeah. I think that he will get him. I think Ben Reader's tires are dead. It seems like it, at least.
Yeah, but he's still going defensive. Because Murno. Please don't risk a collision right now. Don't risk that great results. Around the outside. Oh, no. Oh, Yannis Wilborn just wins the race.
He wins the race, but we need to see what is happening between Ben Reader and Murno.
To Yannis Wilborn, Aaron Smith managed to hold on to 7th, so he has got it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a touch into turn 1. Ben Reader protected his place by all means.
Yep.
Probably only the straight now with DRS where he can get him.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah,
It's very close. Yeah.
DRS will be open right now. Keep it clean, guys. Lucas Murno is going for it.
Late on the brakes from Benton Reader.
Yeah.
But he could still make a mistake like he did last lap.
Yeah. His car looks a bit slidey.
Should be okay. Last corner, only to go.
Yeah, but there is another bit of DRS ahead of the finish line.
Whoa.
This exit is very important for Benton Reader, but I think that should be enough for him.
Yeah, and Smith has kept the position against Fournier.
Benton Reader went into the pit lane, but
Murno
finished fifth.
Yeah, he lost the position.
Okay, very confusing end to the race. But congratulations to Yannis Walborn, of course. Sorry, we almost missed him crossing the line there. Oh, an amazing 1-2 for Team Holland. Finally.
Very dominant race from both of them, but Walborn had the edge in the race.
Yeah, his win was really never under danger or anything. So a 1-2 for Team Holland. Max Riedmüller completes the podium in third. Aleksandar has fourth. Then we have Murno. Yeah, he indeed finished fifth. Did Daniel Benton Reader think the race was already over?
I
was
doubt
weird.
it.
I mean,
I expect many things of him, but I think he knows that it was like the last lap still. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so anyway, first points for Infernal Void in fifth. Aaron Smith managed to hold on to seventh. What a shame for him. That could have been fourth. Well, sorry, my connection just cut out.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Aaron Smith 7th. Fournier completes the point scoring positions. Weller finished 9th. Jack Reeve 10th. And then we have Mitchell 11th. Ger 12th. René Weller 13th. And then Activo and Philip Fekkeler in 14th and 15th. Roy Seifert and Lorenzo Turi. Absolute disaster for Cesario. Both of their cars.
I've got the info from Race Control that Ben Reader seems to have gotten a track limit penalty from the game. So that's why he went to the...
Okay. That's good to know. So, I don't know. Will we have Yannis available for an interview, maybe?
I'll just ask him real fast.
Yeah. So, yeah, what a finish to that.
Yeah,
race.
For the lower points places, it must be said. Not for the win, but still was pretty damn interesting towards the end.
Yeah, so congratulations, Yannis, to your win today. We were expecting you to be here with us at the earlier races as well, but now it finally happened. Yeah, you seemed to be pretty much under control of it, weren't you?
Yes, thanks. Yeah, today was good. Finally, we had our setup perfectly done pre-race, and yeah, finally everything came together.
Yes,
no tire problems anymore for you?
Nope.
But did you have tire problems in the first two races? Because we were under the impression that you were using up the tires much faster compared to other teams, maybe.
In the first race, yes, but it was setup related. In the second race, it wasn't really the tire; it was the general confidence, which was really there.
Okay, thank you. That's great to know and to hear from you. So, you expect these tire issues to be fixed for the next rounds as well?
Should be, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's great to hear. So we can expect you more often here with us at the end of the races in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
And the track layout in Montreal, the next race, I think will suit you?
Hopefully, yes. Today Bahrain was also very good, and yeah, Canada shouldn't be different.
Okay, great. Thanks for your time. Aleksandar, do you have any more questions?
No, I'm just yeah, pretty happy to see the two favorites at the front and yeah, battling it out. Hopefully over the whole season. It seemed that Yannis had a good advantage here, at least at Bahrain.
Yeah, so thanks, Yannis, for your time. Congratulations for the win today, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks.
Yeah, maybe it would be interesting to have Aaron Smith here as well. Is he available? Because
He is down there. I'll ask him real fast.
it would be very interesting to hear from him what happened there when he was running confidently in fourth. We weren't able to make it out.
Let's see.
So yeah, maybe for the championship, let's go through this very quickly. Yannis Wolborn should now lead the championship on 21 points. And then in second, we have Max Riedmüller tied on points with Poland's, if we are not mistaken, after that race. And of course, Holland Racing Team have extended their lead in the Constructors' Championship. I think that's no surprise to anyone after the 1-2 finish. Let's just wait if
One moment.
Yeah, if Aaron would be available for an interview to tell us what happened to him. Congratulations still, of course, to Streamline Engineering, who scored their first points today with Aaron in seventh. Of course, it could have been fourth, if not for that very odd issue that he seemed to encounter. Let's just wait if Aleksandar returns with him.
So we got Aaron Smith.
Ah, great. Hi, Aaron. Congratulations to your first points finish of the season.
Thanks.
It could have been way higher. What happened to you there when you were running in fourth?
Oh, it was just my wheel just kept disconnecting, and yeah, it's like the race was going so well, and we were feeling finally good that we'd actually, been somewhat competitive, and then yeah, my wheel decided to disconnect around 4 times, which wasn't fun, and I had to drive the rest of the race without any force feedback, so I was like a second a lap slower, but yeah, still came home just about in P7, but yeah, could have been a lot better, but at least we've actually got somewhat decent pace now.
So you expect to be competitive at Montreal as well?
Yeah, we've found what the issues were, both with our car and with our game settings, and yeah, we expect to be fairly competitive for the rest of the season. Around midfield is where we expect to be, probably where we finished, but today there was a lot of attrition, so we were probably a little bit higher than we should have been. But yeah, still, take the positives away from the race. But yeah, we'll try and do better next week.
So with the tie situation, you were the only ones starting on the super soft. Did you struggle at any time with the tires? Because we saw others really struggling for grip this race.
Not really. To be fair, tire wear for us wasn't actually that bad. We I think me and Jack went the longest on the supers. We went around, I think, 20 odd laps for the first stint. And yeah, my rear left tire was down to like 25% or something. And the tire wear towards the end was quite bad, but honestly, for like the first 16 laps, it was fine. I was setting pretty much consistent laps, and then on the medium tires, the car felt even better. I think I had fastest lap at one point. I think it was like a 29.9. I was setting pretty much every lap, so we had good pace, and tire wear wasn't really an issue. So yeah, we just did a one stop, and it would have worked out fine. We still got some points, but yeah, tire wear was pretty good for us.
Thank you, Aleksandar. Anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, it seemed that Philipp Puschke had a similar problem to you. He just stopped right in the middle of the track, and I thought in both cases that you had some technical issues because you went off track like at a 90-degree angle, so it just looked very weird.
Yeah, it was really, really strange. Like my wheel, it's like I think the power cable really loose, and it just comes loose, and it just sends me off to the left every time. And yeah, that happened a few times, and it was really frustrating.
Sad that it happened. You were running very well the whole race.
Yeah, but hey, we can still take the positives away from this race. So yeah, we've got high hopes for next time.
Okay, then thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the day.
And yeah, thank you guys for letting me come up.
Yeah, congratulations on P7 today.
Thank you.
So, Aleksandar, I think that was it for today. Next time, we've already spoken about it. The race will take place at Canada, Montreal, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Already looking forward to that one in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, then with Ash Baker back again. I think it will be an interesting race, especially between those two teammates at Holland. I think that Poland will want to strike back. He can't be that happy, from what I know, his personality, he wants always to be at top like Yannis wants to. So I think there will be an inter-team battle there for sure.
Yeah, already looking forward to this one. So, thank you for your time today. Thanks for watching. And I think that's it from us. Have a nice day and goodbye.
Bye-bye.